Max stands there, in the midst of the bustling city street, his hand outstretched and his eyes closed in silent prayer to the heavens, while the deafening noise of urban life blends with the empty rumble of his stomach. This difficult path wasn't Max's choice. His story begins with a tragedy that altered the course of his life. The loss of his parents in a terrible accident while selling hot dogs left him orphaned and alone. Since then, he has faced the challenge of living on the streets of Chicago, where every day is a struggle for survival. But amidst the despair, someone emerges who can change Max's life trajectory. Stuart, a millionaire who crosses paths with Max and shows that generosity transcends social class. Stay with us to be moved by this story, and while you're at it, subscribe. As Max remains there, a well-dressed man named Stuart approaches and hands him some dollars. "Wow, this is the most I've made in a week. Thank you so much for your kindness," exclaims the elderly man, moved by the generous gesture. Max is overjoyed by the amount he received and has already started making plans for how to spend it. Max warmly expresses his gratitude, blessing the generosity of those who see in him not just a beggar, but a fellow human being. As he's heading to claim a sandwich on the other side of the street, Max notices a woman asking for help to pay for a bus fare to her medical appointment. People pass by, indifferent, ignoring her plea for assistance and often mocking the situation. Bothered by the scene, Max decides to intervene. He approaches the woman and offers her help, providing the money needed for her round-trip bus fare. His heart warms at being able to aid someone in need, despite his own challenges. As Max helps the woman, Stuart watches in perplexity, unable to comprehend the beggar's actions. He wonders, "I gave him the money, and he's helping other people instead of keeping it all for himself?" Stuart stands there, still, observing the scene with a mixture of surprise and confusion. He can't understand why Max is sharing the money he gave him with another person. After all, Stuart expected his generous gesture to directly benefit only the beggar. The beggar looks around, noting the hurried faces of the people passing by him. He wonders about their stories, their struggles, and their joys, while he himself carries his own silent battles. Continuing on his way, he enters a pharmacy in search of water and a sandwich. His heart tightens at witnessing the anguish etched on a woman's face. She seems to be struggling to pay for medication for her sick child. Memories of his own moments of desperation emerge when illness or hunger threaten to consume him. While waiting in the checkout line, an impatient young woman exclaims, "Let's get on with it. I have to go to work. If you don't have money to pay for the medicine, leave." The mother of the boy, who is counting coins to buy the medication, is the target of the young woman's impatience. Max watches the scene from the back of the line and feels a pang of indignation. Desperate, the mother asks the cashier to sell her the medicine and promises to come back to pay later. However, the cashier's response is inflexible. "You have to pay to take the medicine." Meanwhile, the boy beside her is visibly ill, crying out for help. "Please, sir, my son is very sick and needs this medicine," pleads the mother with teary eyes. The pharmacy cashier, standing firm in his position, refuses to help. His denial echoes in the pharmacy, while Max witnesses the scene with a sense of helplessness and frustration. With a gentle voice, he offers his help, even if it's just a small contribution. He knows that every penny counts when it comes to a loved one's health. The woman, surprised and moved, accepts his offer with tears in her eyes, thanking for the unexpected help that came from a stranger on the street. "Thank you very much, sir. God bless you," exclaimed the mother. He smiles and pays for his water and sandwich and leaves. Despite his own daily struggles, Max finds comfort and satisfaction in helping others. He firmly believes in the power of compassion and kindness, knowing that even the smallest gesture can make a significant difference in someone's life. He continues on his way, knowing that, despite adversities, there will always be kindness in the world for those willing to share it. Max sits on a bench to eat his sandwich and notices that his friend Josh hasn't eaten yet. Josh, an 11-year-old boy, was abandoned by his mother, who is a drug addict. Having never known his father, Josh was left by his mother at the age of 8. He has no idea whether she is still alive or not. Max and Josh met on the streets and have since developed a strong friendship. Max watches Josh with concern as he plays with a crumpled piece of paper, seeming uninterested in his own sandwich. He knows Josh hasn't eaten anything that morning and feels a pang in his heart, thinking about the difficult situation the boy is in. Josh's eyes, though still bright with childlike innocence, carry a deep sadness that belies his young age. Max remembers the stories Josh shared about his absent mother and the times he cried in his arms, seeking comfort amidst the loneliness of the streets. Despite his own difficulties, Max feels a special responsibility for Josh. He has become like a father figure to the boy, offering him protection and support in such a cruel world. Max then calls Josh over and offers him the sandwich. "Josh, I brought this for you," Max said. "But have you already eaten?" Josh asked. "No, but you can have it. It's okay. I'll get more later," Max replied. While all this is happening, Stuart is still perplexed by what he's witnessing. Determined to understand, he approaches Max. "I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'd like to understand. Why do you help others, even though you have so little?" Max offers him a gentle smile and responds, "I believe that every good deed you do for someone comes back to you in some way." Stuart leaves, but he remains pensive about everything he witnessed that day. While they were having dinner, Linda notices that her son Stuart is quite pensive, playing with his food instead of eating. "Is everything okay, son?" Linda asks. "Yes, Mom. I'm just thinking about something that happened today," Stuart replies. He then shares with his mother the story of Max. "I'm impressed by the kindness in that beggar's heart," Stuart says. As he finishes speaking, he notices that his mother is in tears. "What's wrong, Mom?" he asks. Then, Linda decides to share a story. Linda is a hard-working woman who has faced difficult times alongside her son. She recalls the days when they had to sleep in the car and rely on the generosity of others. A special memory is of the unexpected support from a kind man, whose daily help was crucial for them to overcome those tough times. She reveals to Stuart that when she found out she was pregnant, her husband abandoned her, demanding that she get an abortion, something she refused to do. So, her husband left, leaving them alone. Before her maternity leave ended, she lost her job when her boss laid her off. Desperate and unemployed, Linda struggled to find work while caring for a newborn baby, but to no avail. Bills piled up, and they were evicted from their apartment. They ended up on the streets, but Linda remembers a homeless man who helped them. On that cold and rainy night, he offered them a blanket and some warm soup from social services. Despite the challenges, they managed to overcome the situation and eventually thrive. Linda reveals to Stuart that they are now millionaires, but that the beginning of their lives was marked by adversity. As Linda shares this story with her son, she reveals a part of her life that she had never shared before. Stuart is surprised and moved to learn this new facet of his mother's life, revealing a strength and resilience he had never imagined. Then, the family's cook, Brian, was about to throw away what was left in the pots. "What are you doing, Brian? Don't throw that food away. I have an idea," Stuart said. Quickly, they packed everything up and headed towards Max and Josh. The night was chilly, winter was approaching. Max and Josh tried to keep warm around a small fire when they saw Stuart arriving with a woman. "Max and Josh, we brought dinner," Stuart announced with a smile on his face. When Linda sees Max, she feels her heart race and her eyes fill with tears. You helped us in those days we spent on the street. You were our angel on many cold nights." Max smiles and is very happy to know that he has crossed paths with this family before and made a difference in their lives. Together they shared the meal right there, and Linda invited them to sleep in her home. Linda and Stuart offered Max a job in one of their companies, providing him with an opportunity to get off the streets. Max, in turn, brought Josh along with him. Now Josh has a warm bed and plenty of delicious food in the fridge. He attends school and has become the brightest student in his class. Max continues his mission of helping others and sharing what he has with those in need. Thus, the story of Linda, her son, and the beggar intertwines into a beautiful example of generosity, solidarity, and belief in the transformative power of mutual support. They discovered that when we come together to help each other, everyone emerges stronger and more grateful for the journey of life. Stay tuned to our channel for more touching stories.